Happy New Year, Marianne.
Happy New Year, Leslie. Wow, one more year under our belts.
We are just so young, getting younger, going backwards. You know what? It is January 2nd when this is coming out, and yet you and I still have a million Christmas cards to write. Because, listener, this is so real, and yet it's so unreal. What is it really? It's December 11th, 12th, something like that.
It is the 11th. It is not the 12th because the 12th is a very special day. It's a high holy day of my birthday. So it is not the 12th.
Ooh, we are getting old. You
I
first here.
know. I know. I'm going. And we are a couple weeks out. However, this ain't our first rodeo. So we have a good idea of what's going to be happening in the next couple weeks in the garden. But we also have expectations and curiosity about what this particular year is going to bring to us. So I think we can handle being 2 weeks away from when this goes up.
We're really good at prognostication and predicting things because we are gardeners, and that is what we are. This is the garden mixer, and I have an old fashioned in my hand. What about you, my dear?
Well, I was going to go for a beautiful pink gin in honor of our brand new logo. But I went downstairs to get the gin because I was out. And in doing so, I saw a very beautiful bottle of red Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. And I love Montepulciano. I love, love, love wine from that region. And so that's what I'm drinking is a large glass of red. So what are you having?
Well, so this is I love an old fashioned. I love a sweet bourbon sweet, but I make it sweeter. I've taken to putting more bitters in it. It's an orange bitters tonight, and just like a half a teaspoon of maple syrup, you know? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And because we haven't had enough sugar, I grab a couple maraschino cherries, and oh wait, there's juice in that jar. Let's just dump some of that in. So it's a very Christmassy looking drink, is it not? It's quite red.
it's actually a very beautiful drink. I would order that. Just looking at it if I saw it on somebody else's table. And I want to applaud you, Leslie, for finally upping your game in the drink department because it's been really poor the
I've
last
been
few episodes.
thirsty for the Coors Light, and I just was drinking a seltzer, but I wanted to celebrate the new year, so here we are. Okay, we need to talk about this groovy new music because the the last podcast episode of the Garden Mixer that you good people heard, you heard this groovy music, and yet I didn't know that we were going to be able to stick it on there. And so now it's there. It was on for the last episode. It's on for this episode. We hope you like it. Marianne found it, and we find it to be what, upbeat.
I love it. It's jazzy. It's got a little bit of a gypsy feel. It's got a bit of a swing, and it's fun. And I think that is what we are. We are a little
So
upbeat,
fun.
bit of a swing,
Old.
old, dated.
Hmm.
Yes, but still with some energy left in us.
Oh,
And
so
and
much.
so so I really liked it. No, we did not steal it. We are fully
Yeah, we are not going to
licensed.
get arrested. We are licensed
We are fully licensed.
French bistro owners. We are
That's right.
on the up and up here.
The only way this is changing is if I can manage to get a incredible musician that I saw to write something for us. But since he hasn't answered any of my Instagram DMs, I don't think we're there yet. So I think it's going to be this one for a while.
And also, you upped the ante on the logo. We had come away from the Into the Garden with Leslie logo to the Garden Mixer logo, and I fiddled around on Canva to the best of my abilities and got us to a certain place. And then Marianne took it this week and got it to a better place. And so you'll see that new logo. And
I have the bloodshot eyes to prove it.
oh God, so many hours in front of a screen. This is so bad. But we might not be done. We might not, this is an evolving thing. But in the new year, look at what we've accomplished just in, I don't know, 5 episodes, two with Scott, yeah, 5, 6 episodes of the Garden Mixer, maybe 7. I can't do math. I can't do
Well,
math.
you are, yes, and you're old,
I'm
remember?
so old. Like math goes first. It left. It's gone. Um, and so we've done this thing, and every time we're looking to improve. And tell Marianne, tell listeners about how they could actually read some, notes. Marianne actually is a writer by profession, and she's going to write up notes on
I am.
things.
What the hell am I doing on a podcast? Yes, I will be putting the notes together for the show, and we're going to be hosting those on Substack. And you're not going to get the straight listening to it from Substack, but there will be a link to the Spotify and Apple podcast link where you're probably listening to it right now. But you'll be able to get any notes that we want to share with you. You can also email us if you have a comment or you want to tell us about something in your garden or you want us to deal with a topic to the best of our ability. Comments at thegardenmixer.com. So send your comments, send your accolades, send your best liquor and many, many gifts to the comments at thegardenmixer.com. And we are going to try to answer the hundreds of emails that are probably going to start flooding in. You can also get to us at Instagram, actually, and that is a way to either to Leslie's Instagram or
Which
my
is
Instagram.
so lame because I'm disillusioned and absent basically. But I am Leslie Harris Lulu. If you want to give me a go, I've been looking at it a little bit more recently. I did have a rough fall. If you listen to the last episode, you know why. No big deal. All
That,
is well. But Marianne has a good and active Instagram, which is Marianne Wilburn. Marianne
wait,
Wilburn.
I'm still trying to absorb the fact that you just said you had a bad fall. Do you realize what that means when you start saying, I just had a bad fall? It
Oh,
means you
bad
can add like,
autumn. Autumn. Bad
oh, a
autumn.
bad autumn. Okay. I'm like, please, we've already established we're old as piss. Could you?
I've fallen and I can't get up. No, a bad autumn where various people in my life went to the garden in the sky.
Okay, okay. Backing up, you can get to me somehow at Marianne.Wilburn, two L's, at Instagram, and you can DM us there. But we also have an Instagram page for the Garden Mixer, and you can definitely DM us there.
Yeah.
So all these DMs, all these emails, how are we going to cope? We're going to need assistance, Leslie, obviously, because we had a wonderful listener speak to us through Instagram recently, right?
Yeah. And she's so cute that she actually reached out to me. And I'm so glad I saw it because I have been so bad on Instagram. It's from Stacy Burry. Listen to this. I'm an avid listener of the Garden Mixer, formerly Into the Garden. I love your banter with Marianne and how you're both general garden enthusiasts. We are a rare breed, it seems. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Anyway, I'm a 33-year-old gardener residing
Woo!
33 years old. Stacy, we love you because you could
Yes.
be our daughter. Well, maybe not Marianne's daughter, but you could be.
Could we please
I,
wait a minute? Oh yeah, damn, she could be my
oh yeah,
daughter.
oh yeah. She's younger than my kids. So, but we love you. Zone 5B, Newfoundland, Canada, the most easterly tip of North America.
Newfoundland, Anne with an E, Shirley, Anne of Green Gables land. This is a place. I really wanted to go and visit NARGS, the North American Rock Gardening Society, did a trip up there last year, and it coincided with another trip I was doing, and I could not go. And they were botanizing their way through Newfoundland, and I was very jealous. And you live in a beautiful part of the world, Stacy, and I bet you appreciate it, even though it is 5A, which is rough, but then
Challenging. So she has time to
challenging.
listen to us. Got immersed in 2018. Podcast helped me keep my sanity while on maternity leave last winter while I was itching to get back in the garden. It's so cute. I was thinking that if you're ever stuck for a podcast topic, I would love to hear about both of your favorite gardening books. And I love it that Stacy spelled favorite with an O and a U. I think that's just so awesome.
That is not going to be hard for me, but it's going to be very tough for Leslie because she does not read. In
I'm
fact,
illiterate. I'm
she
illiterate, but
did.
I
I
do have
don't
a
even
phone.
think, I'm thinking she doesn't even know who Anne with an E Shirley is.
Uh,
Do you?
no,
Anne of Green Gables?
no. I
Wow.
spent a lot of time with Spanish literature, okay? Whether recent or good or reliables that you go back to year after year, and that would be Marianne's strong suit. But I do have a selection of dog-eared things, and I think that's such a great idea. And we are so grateful that you wrote that, Stacy. And we had talked about just last episode doing that, and then Marianne wrinkled her nose. She's so circumspect about her opinion. Sometimes it's hard to discern what she really means, but I know her well, so I thought, oh, she doesn't like this idea.
I love the idea about talking about books. What I don't like is being made to feel like I am sitting in a library all of my life and everybody's making fun of me because it's just too close to the truth of my adolescence.
She's sensitive. Yeah.
And I'm sensitive.
Yeah. But a few good old dog-eared books, like ones that we've actually left out in the rain and had to replace. I mean, those are the good ones, right? So I think we should do that. Maybe we'll do a couple today. If I only had a good enough memory to remember what my favorite ones are, because we've already sat down and started drinking.
Well,
But
actually, I have a stack right here
oh,
because you
you're
said, wait,
cheating.
no, it's right here. Look, I pulled it out of my bookcase.
Oh, look at you.
I didn't realize Stacy was going to pipe in, but thank you, Stacy.
Hmm.
Now, when Leslie tells me this is getting boring, I can just say Stacy wants to know. So, we talked about it last time. You said you wanted to do books.
I do like books. I just like my phone too. All right, so let's get into it.
Here's the thing with books. Everything is now in our world. What's new? What's new? What's new? What's the new book, right? What's the new plant? What's the new book? And yeah, there's some great new books out there. Every fall, every spring, I usually can pick out one or two that I'm like, yep, fabulous. I'm all in. But there are some really good old books, old meaning older than the 6 months that they give a new book, and they are worth having in a library. This has been really big for me lately because I've gone to look up a plant online and I know where I'm going to look as well. And I'm having to go through so much to get to what I'm looking for. And then I want to look tangentially. Is that what I'm trying to say?
Tangentially, yes, yes,
Yes,
good
on
try, good effort.
thank you, anemone. Um, I'm trying to go on both sides of it, but I
Can I
can't.
can I just interrupt about pronunciation of plants in general? I
Okay.
give you a lot of business about the word anemone, but honestly, if you say anemone and everybody understands that you're talking about that plant, really, it's just like saying clematis versus clematis or cleome versus cleome. It doesn't matter, right?
I think you're just feeling, yeah, you're feeling a little bit salty, I think. Well, because Jenny sort of took you
Oh,
up on,
right. Jenny, what was that
yes.
about the camassia?
Camassia, yes.
Okay, if you say camassia, it sounds like you're from Western New York State. I think
I
it's a
didn't say
camassia.
Camassia. I didn't say Camassia. I said Camassia.
Camassia, like the comma, like the bed in Spanish. Cama. I think all those A's are supposed to be soft. Let's get back to books. Never mind.
Leslie is a little salty, Jenny, so I've talked her down. I've told her you're a really good person. This is Jenny Price Nelson out in Texas,
She is a really
who
good person.
told me that via Instagram that congratulations on being the only one who could pronounce Camassia.
Throwing Scott and me under the bus. Jenny, thank you so much, and I'm sure you're correct.
I have told her, Jenny, you're a nice person, so it's okay. Where were we? We've gone off on a
Books,
tangent.
books. But you were talking about reference only, and so I was about to rein you back in. I'll let you go for a few minutes. Go.
Okay, reference only. First thing is, I do have, even though it is dated, I have the A to Z Encyclopedia of Garden Plants, which is the AHS, and it sits here up in my office, and I've got it right now open, and I have one downstairs as well. So if I'm in bed and I'm like, what that I want to look at that genus. Oh, that's another thing. Should we switch over to genus?
You can. No, no, genus does make sense. It's genera. Again,
I know.
everybody will know what you're talking about. You're just that little bit. Oh, what is the word affected when you say things like A to Z? Hmm.
Eh, really? Okay. A to Z, A to
Here in the
Z, A
United
to
States, we
Z, A to
say,
Z. Okay,
see,
so the A to Z Encyclopedia of Garden Plants, I love it, even though now it's becoming more and more dated because a lot of these genera are changing genera, so it can be difficult. But it allows me to look through that genus and see a lot of different species in it. And I just was doing this with Rudbeckia. I was trying to identify a Rudbeckia I had in my garden, the one that was blooming in
recently, right?
very recently, up until about a week ago now. And just looking through what were my options, looking at the description of that. And sometimes that's a little harder to do online.
Right. If you know the name of a plant online or you're close, then you can use one of my favorite sources online. Just research. Just want to know what this thing is. Mobot is my favorite resource. It's a Missouri Botanical Garden database. And so I just type in Rudbeckia maxima, Rudbeckia, Herta, whatever. Is there? Well, never mind. Um,
Yes, there is.
oh, okay. Smarter than I look. And Mobot will tell me everything I want to know. But I maintain that we might want to break down what kind of garden books are your favorites because there's the research kind, very dry, just give you the facts. There are the sort of waxing lyrical about the garden. Not quite sure I can handle some of those. There are just the clever people like Christopher Lloyd who are telling you all about the garden, but having a cute or amusing turn of phrase, Vita Sackville-West, for example. And then there are the people who are doing the really how to, which you and I
Yes.
might be beyond, but wow, very valuable at the beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm only saying the AHS encyclopedia because that is honestly open all the time in my office. I do refer to it a lot. But in terms of the reference books, the quick ones, I'll do some really fast ones. Essential Perennials by Ruth Rogers Clausen and Thomas Christopher, which is fairly new, but just very well laid out. I really love it. I absolutely adore When Perennials Bloom by Thomas Enisco, and he was at Longwood, and there are some fabulous charts in there of our favorite perennials, some annuals, and when they bloom in the garden. And it's showing their peak time, and it's just a fabulous book. Now, those are changed a little. That book, again, was written about 15, 20 years ago, so it might be off a tiny little bit for your garden in the mid-Atlantic, but you can adjust. You can just move things a little bit. Durr's Hardy Trees and Shrubs, we've talked about that before. Dr. Michael Durr, fabulous book. The Complete Book of Ground Covers, which came out 2 years ago by Gary Lewis up in Canada. And that is if you're looking for a ground cover book, Kathy Jens did a really terrific ground cover book, but it's a much smaller book. This is truly more of an encyclopedia. And then since we're getting into seed starting season soon, very soon, you should be at least thinking about it. I've got two seed books for you. First one is truly a Bible for me. It's Growing Herbs and Vegetables from Seed to Harvest. And this is by Terry and Mark Sibler. And it is a very, very good book. Visually, it's also a beautiful book. It's an older book. And then this one, which is just so much fun, which is Garden Flowers from Seed, which is by Christopher Lloyd and Graham Rice. And the reason that I love this book is because they take all of these different perennials and annuals that they're growing from seed, and they don't argue about them, but they give their experience, and then the other man will come in and with a little, well, I don't do it that way, but I've always found that such and such, or yes, that's quite correct, and but I do this and it works better, and I just love that give and take because as you and I have found, gardening is very individual. It's very personal, and what may work for you doesn't work for other people. And your soil, your climate, your moisture, your light, so many things come into it. So, love that book.
Like raising children and making chili. There's so many ways to do this, right?
Great.
Agreed.
So, why don't you deal with the books that are more of a the kind that you have a hard time with? What are like the flowery books, the not literally, but the ones that wax about the garden in general. Is there one or two of those that you can pull out of the sort of sentimental pool and say this is a really worth reading book?
Yeah. And we brought it up before on and all of the rest of her books are on my list. And
Paige Dickey.
Paige Dickey, the
Yeah.
the Uprooted. And and it's so ironic because back when I was in my 20s and I really depended, this is when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, so there was no interweb. And I needed to go to the library and check out books that told me this is what happens in May. This is what happens in June. I really had no knowledge. And she had a month by month for her Duck Hill. It was called Duck Hill Journal. Lots of great information, probably some outdated now. But when she went and wrote that book on her new garden church house called Uprooted, it talks about, draws me in on the the how-tos or the what to grow and how I did this and what I was thinking. So it doesn't, she doesn't wax too poetic on what's going on, but she does get a little sentimental, I feel like just the right amount. Another book that really helped me at the beginning, if you're a beginning gardener, and this keeps being put out again and again, it's called The Garden Primer or Primer, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And it's by Barbara Damrosch. And it goes through every vegetable, every major shrub, every major perennial and annual. And I think it has a section on vines too. It just, mine was, I did have to have several copies because I did leave it in the rain. It was just always out in the yard with me. I love it because one of the first things she says in the preface is it's not that difficult, but you should try to learn to think like a plant. And that so helps. It so helps when you're like, wait, what do I want? I want some water. What do I want? I want a little soil, not too much. I find it really, really helpful to free you up to follow your instincts.
I love that idea. And we talked about that when we were just talking with Scott about thinking like a bulb. Where is
Hmm.
the bulb going? Once it's reproducing, where are those seeds going to go? Where would it naturally fall? How would it clump up? And yeah, that's a smart way to garden because you're going to have a much more natural garden in the end if you do that.
They're not too conversational, these plants, that you need to sort of try to get the information from them because they're not going to answer you.
By any means necessary.
What do
Um,
you want?
what do you want? I don't understand.
But also, don't be afraid to kill plants and they will die. It's not like children, it's okay.
I think, wait a minute, I need to take a moment with that. I think that the best garden writers impart a great deal of information without you even knowing that they're doing it.
Hmm.
And not doing it through sort of twee stories and once upon a times, but just giving you what they're doing and helping you learn that way. Those are the ones I want to read. That's how I came to Christopher Lloyd. I found myself just gripped by how he could be so caustic in a moment
Yeah.
and funnily so, and then come back to something that was really beautiful and breathtaking and express that so well. That's for some people. Some people it's not. They just want a how to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's fine. I'm not judging you, totally judging you. But I think human beings think in terms of stories. We learn in terms of stories. And so the best garden writers figure out how to do a little bit of both there.
Christopher Lloyd, in case you don't know, was the gardener at Great Dixter. And Marianne and I were lucky enough to meet each other there and do a week-long symposium. She's since done two more after that.
I have done one more, and in a couple weeks, I am going to be going back for the February symposium, and I'm going to learn to prune under the watchful eye of Fergus Garrett. It's going to be terrifying. And I know it's going to be terrifying because one of the gentlemen who was there with us, Ed, do you remember Ed?
Oh, dear Ed. Yeah.
Veterinarian in South Carolina, Ed Davidson, and he a retired veterinarian. And he went to all four of them, and he said that was the most terrifying one, but it's the one where he learned the most because where they really let you go. They had somebody with you, but it was one on one. And now you've got to, you know, cut woody bits off of really important parts of Dixter Gardens. And so anyway, it'll go fine, but it is a little scary. And it's going to be cold, but that's okay because I thrive in cold. Even though I hate cold, I thrive in it somehow. I don't know how that works.
Huh. It's that self-punishment, self-flagellation thing.
Yes. And I'm getting a new jacket that should be arriving, new coat that should be arriving today because
Is it chargeable, like electric?
no, it is not. I don't want that.
Those exist. You could do that.
Okay, so I have to tell you something. I looked at those kind of chargeable gloves yesterday. I was looking at those on the internet because my hands were so cold from planting bulbs. And it showed that the battery pack was right just at your pulse line. That's where the battery is.
Yeah.
And I thought, wait a minute. That's where you put magnets and things to sort of change your chakras and things. And I don't know if any of that's true, but I don't need like some electric battery pack right at my pulse points. And I said, you know what, cold fingers, that's fine.
What do you think that these could possibly do to you that would be detrimental?
I don't know. I have no idea, but I don't want to know, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because I feel like I can cope with cold hands with some really good, I have some great gloves that I cannot remember the name of that Andrea Gasper put me on 2 years ago as a professional container gardener. And they're okay. My hands are still a little cold, but it's all right. I
Do you
just
ever slide the hand warmers inside the palm of the glove? So your fingers are still suffering greatly, but at least there's a heat source closer to the tips of your miserable fingers.
I haven't done that, and I will admit to you, Leslie, it's because I'm so damn frugal that I just never felt like I could invest in a whole bunch of throwaway heat warmers. I know.
They're away. They're rechargeable, girl. All right. You all are listening to this in January, but Christmas is coming. I'm getting on Amazon after this. Oh, I'm first I got to look up what the hell chakra is. And then and then I got to get you some hand warmers.
Okay, listeners, if you know what a chakra is, would you just please
Oh, I
email
even
me
said it wrong. Chakra, whatever.
comments at thegardenmixer.com just to let me know that I am not completely crazy and that there's a possibility. I mean, I don't think there's chakras in your wrists, but I'm just saying that there's energy flowing through the body and we're putting these energy. Okay, never mind. Leslie is rolling.
The title of your email, as you write to inquire about chakras, whatever they may be, could be Leslie is a loser, because that was a theme pre-recording. Mary is like, I don't have the link to the Zoom. I'm like, of course I sent it. Oh no, I didn't send it to you. Okay, I'm the loser.
That's right. And then it continued when we sat here in muted silence, me saying, this couldn't be another one of your Leslie's muted silences, could it be? Oh, no,
Where I have
no.
the mute button on. We're so good at this.
I know. We are professionals. Just watch us and learn.
So we've heard some really good books. I've only named two because I have not made my list. You have. What's your favorite type? The reference, the how to? No, because you know how to, right?
My favorite type, if I had my druthers, is the essays. And I know you're probably going to go,
Well, it depends. Are they droll? Do they amuse?
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, no. I don't like dry essays.
Okay.
I mean, I was actually going to use some names, but I'm not going to. They're living in Friends. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. One of my favorite things to do is to sit down with and a lot of them are British. I have a very dry sense of humor. And so I just get it. I get that sort of sarcasm. It's not just sarcasm, it's just little hidden bits that it blows my skirt up. I love it. So that once in a while there's a really, really good American garden writer, and absolutely I'm not going to be prejudiced about it. Of course, none of them are coming into my head right now, so I sound like an idiot. Can you please edit this?
No, you're not going to get edited out because we need you to be hanging out at the peak of Mount Stupid with me. I couldn't remember any of my garden books. Maybe next time. We'll see.
Okay. Oh, okay. Of course. Of course. I know the one who had that perfectly right, and that was Henry Mitchell. He is dead now, but he was the garden writer for the Washington Post, and he had that, I don't know, that je ne sais quoi, that little something that made you smile and smirk and commiserate, and the essays were tight and fun, and yeah. So he is fabulous.
Say his name again.
Henry Mitchell, and he wrote The Essential Earthman, and he wrote, I think, Henry Mitchell's Garden, I believe. I also like Elizabeth Lawrence's work as well. She was a very, very good garden writer. Again, she's the late Elizabeth Lawrence, and she was down in the South. But hers, she can be amusing, just sort of that same biting thing quality. But hers is much more in the weeds with what you're doing
Okay.
and the how to. There are people I just can't. Catherine White is one of those, the onward and upward in the garden. It's drier than dust to me. I can't do it.
It's interesting because these people, if you're going to write a garden book, you actually have the procedural knowledge, but it doesn't always translate to the declarative knowledge or the declarative skill, more like I know how to do this, but I might not know. Where are you going?
I'm looking at my bookcase. So I
She's
mean,
like disappearing off the
I know.
screen.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at my collection of because these are all my essay books here.
Huh. That's looks like a dust problem.
Oh my God, I know. I just realized all these people that I'm leaving out here. Anne, our friend Anne Wareham,
Yeah, she's a
freaking
bit of a grump.
hilarious.
Like I know she's going to be listening to this. Anne, are you a grump? I think she actually is. Didn't she title one of her books like to declare that I'm a grumpy gardener?
The
Yeah.
bad-tempered gardener, and it was sort of off of the well-tempered gardener. So there was a little bit of tongue in cheek there. If you have to get a book, listeners, and to keep you laughing and sort of commiserating over these long winter months, especially in Newfoundland,
Dear Stacey.
pick up a copy of Anne's book. It is The Bad-Tempered Gardener. It's out of print now, but I'm sure you can find something online. She is funny. She is honest. I love honesty in writing, and she's Anne, really, and she's not trying to make friends sometimes, but she's not mean. She's just being honest, and I love that honesty, and I love her sense of humor, and I love the lovely glasses of wine she gives me when I visit her. So,
I'm going to put that one. I do have it in my house. I'm going to put it next to my bedside. I will have that read and report back to you all and see if I like it as well because I like her. I mean, she was lovely in the garden that we saw. Oh my goodness. The garden that she and her husband Charles do in Wales that Marianne took us to on the strip last spring was
yeah.
so cool. Talk about garden rooms. You're like, whoa, I haven't been in this one yet. High hedges and different ideas and lots of fabulous plants. It was really cool.
She walks the walk. They both do. And of one last thing that I would say to listeners with books, you know that little Mr. Sex symbol that everybody is slathering over on BBC, Monty Don, Lord Monty,
Oh, come on. Sex
right?
symbol? I mean, he has funny clothes.
I don't think of him as a sex symbol, but I know
No.
there's a lot of people who do. Because I had very little in the way of cable connection, I never saw BBC Gardener's World until, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. But Monty Don, as the writer, I was very, very aware of. He was a fabulous writer, and I should say is a fabulous writer, but just going back to his old column writing and his old collections of writing, like The Sensuous Gardener. What else does he have? Do I have here of his? I've got quite a few, but I gotta find them here.
She has now disappeared off my screen again. She's gone to dust her books.
Gardening Mad, Sensuous Gardener. He has an exceptional way with words. He really does. And he's funny and he has that caustic quality. Now, his writing now, it's sort of, I don't know, it's secondary, I think, to what he's become.
Milk toast spelled with a Q-U-E.
No, no, he's still controversial, but I think of him fondly as the writer of the 90s and 2000s, and boy, there was something in his writing that just made you want to throw the book aside and run out into the garden. Not naked, just run out into the garden.
Please don some clothing.
Okay, don some clothing. Yes.
Oh, I made it funny.
Ha ha ha.
Don some clothing. Vita Sackville-West, I'll just put in one more plug for her because oh, come
Uh,
on. She was
uh.
a again, so circumspect. What is Marianne thinking? Let's all just ponder a moment. What could she be thinking? Uh, because she wrote for whatever newspaper. And honestly, half of the charm of it is that she'll say, I think you can get these plants at so and so Grosvenor, south of Surrey, for 2 pence each. Because it was written in the 1940s and 50s. So I don't know. I find that incredibly charming. I also want to go back to my fine point I was making about procedural versus declarative skills. These gardeners are real gardeners, but that doesn't mean that everybody, it's like, let me just put it in golf terms. Jack Nicklaus can really hit the golf ball, and he wrote some books and everybody
Why?
bought those books.
Wait a minute. What on earth makes you think putting it in golf terms is going to help our audience in any way? Poor Stacy just fell asleep.
Wake up. That baby's crying. That baby could be four. I'm not quite sure. No, because, all right, Tiger Woods, fine. Well, let's go more modern. This is a person who is paid large sums of money for what he does. He clearly does it very well. Scotty Scheffler nowadays. Does that mean that he can tell other people how he does it or how to do it? No, no. That is a procedural versus declarative skill. There are so many fine gardeners who've written great books. Nobody gets paid to garden. Well, I guess a few people do.
Oh
Not
yeah.
very much money.
No, I mean, my writing partner at Garden Rant, Ben Probert, he's a professional gardener. That's what he does. He's also a professional writer, but he's a professional gardener. He goes from garden to garden and gets paid to do what he does. But
Oh, wait a minute. I did that. I was a professional gardener for 7 years.
yes.
I made quite a pretty penny doing that. If anybody wants to go back to my, what was it, a couple of years ago, I actually had an interview with a woman who wanted to start a gardening business, and we went into ins and outs of how to do it. You can make some good coin, but you're not going to be on the cover of magazines, probably, like Tiger Woods. So everybody who's writing a book knows how to garden, but I think only the special ones know how to turn a phrase also.
Oh, I so agree with that. But isn't that true with all things?
Hmm.
It's true with all things in life. So
Hmm.
you've got some uber specialists in something, people that you bend down and kiss the ring for their knowledge. But they stand up in front of an audience and you just sort of, oh goodness, I got to stay awake because I want this information.
Yeah.
There's nothing super engaging there because they're not talking to the audience. They're talking about this incredible encyclopedia in their heads. If you're one of those people and you can turn a phrase, the world is your oyster.
And if you're Tiger Woods, you could pay somebody else to turn a phrase for you.
Oh, I want to pay somebody else. Okay, so should we talk about why I dislike Vita Sackville-West just for a moment? Because it's
Oh, there are reasons. I thought it was just a general
oh no, 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 no.
distaste.
Because it is 100% rooted in envy.
Oh,
I will absolutely say that.
good for you on being
No,
honest.
it is because little Vita Sackville-West had little. Look, now I'm being derogatory.
Her physical stature is unclear to me.
She had a very privileged life and had, cooks and servants. And most wonderful of all, she had this ivory tower. It's not technically
Literally,
ivory.
we climbed it a couple summers ago.
I know we did. It's not ivory, it is actually brick, but it might as well be an ivory tower. And up at the very top of it, we can look into this gorgeous sort of Harry Potter-esque study of hers, which had a door on it, which I assume was for children,
Get away.
right? And husbands, where she could bring her lovers. And then we have to read these billboards about how brave she was for all the lovers that she had, and all these sort of things. And then she goes down and has her food cooked for her, and her children are literally housed in a separate house and they all come together for meals. And I don't want my children to be separated from me, like on that level, but just a little separation would have been nice at certain times in my life. So it's just basically envy. I think that she writes well. Her writing never sort of took me on that instant journey that somebody like Paige
Paige Dickey.
Dickey or Christopher Lloyd or Monty Don did, or Henry Mitchell. So I just ran with the envy and annoyance. That's being honest, right? I'm laying it out there.
I'm so impressed with you. By the way, just in case you don't know, Vita Sackville-West gardened and created the gardens at Sissinghurst, which if you go to England, you're going to go there if you're on a garden tour, and it is worth it. And from the top of that tower, you see these rooms that she laid out, and those are the kind of rooms that I laid out in my brain for my flat yard up in Connecticut. I'm like, oh, I could do this. Are you pouring another drink?
No, I'm actually pouring some water. I'm being very, very virtuous right now.
Huh.
So
Okay.
I'm doing that. Plus, she had gardeners. Did I mention that she had two
Yeah.
head gardeners
Staff. Yeah.
and then a lot of underlings and a very forgiving husband. And
We keep looking around for the staff. Where are they? Well, I don't need them now. I'm in the smallest garden in the world. I have planted all my bulbs. Have you? With your freezing fingers?
okay, darling. Well, I planted almost all of them. The only ones that I haven't planted are the ones that should be coming up in the next few days, which are paperwhite.
Yeah, narcissus.
But the paperwhite should have been put in like, I don't know, 4 weeks ago so that I could have them for Christmas.
You just throw them in some vase or something. This is
Yes.
inside, right?
Yeah, that's inside. I'm just meaning that that's okay. I'll have them in February. It'll be
By the way,
fabulous.
can we back up to odors in the house and you can deal with narcissus and not hyacinths?
Yeah, I know that that's a thin line. That's a
Yeah,
thin line.
it
Yeah.
sure
I'm
is.
being a bit of a hypocrite. I
Uh-huh.
understand.
Yeah.
You see, narcissus are slim and elegant and sophisticated, and hyacinths are just like, "Hey, I'm here. Pay attention to me."
Big thugs. Oh, I've been at the gym. I've been working out.
Yo, what do you think of my belly?
I got the abs. But so you're talking about you just hold your nose and look at the narcissus and say, I don't care how you smell, you just look elegant. Is that what's going on?
They look so elegant, and I grow them in these little houses that I got from IKEA, I think of a few years ago. They look like little mini greenhouses, but they don't have glass. So what they do is the narcissus grow up through them and they hold them.
They don't flop. Oh, honestly. So you don't have to, Google like, how do I keep just a few drops of gin and then, okay, some for the narcissus, some for me. Does that work? I think it does work actually. Give them a little booze, right?
I have never given narcissus booze, but
Well, it
if
works for
it
me.
works,
It works for
okay.
me.
You're
Yeah.
just giving everything booze. The other thing that I did not get into the ground was the little species tulips. I bought a lot of Tulip clusiana,
Hmm.
and oh no, I'm sorry, they're not clusiana, they're sylvestris.
Can you explain your failure?
It was a very specific failure because it wasn't a failure, thank you very much. The place that I was going to put them, I'm doing a little bit of weeding and I'm coming up with unbelievable amounts of vole holes. And I thought,
Oh, that's a waste.
yeah, definition of insanity, right? And in previous years, I would have put them in and just said, well, maybe this year. And of course, not this year. They're going to eat them every time. I could just throw them into the holes, basically, that they've already dug for me. Okay, so that's out. Well, damn, I've got all these Sylvestris. Where the hell am I going to put them? And I looked at a very sort of steep, not escarpment, but just a steeper hill in my same fenced off vegetable kitchen garden.
Uh-huh.
And I thought I can put them there because the voles don't go on that space and it's dry
Hmm.
and they would be happy. And it's not baking sun, but it'll be okay. These are Sylvestris. They can handle a little bit of shade, little bit. But in order to do it, I need to put some stones in, I need to dig some stones into that hill so that it can sort of catch a little bit of water. It can sort of make sense for the bulbs being there. And the bulbs aren't just going to get eroded away. And in order to put the stones in, it was going to take a long time, all of my bulb planting days. So I put the things in that I could get to that were easy, and then I'll come back to those tulips when after it had rained and everything. But now it's rained forever and ever, and it's going to start freezing up again. And so I'm going to be SOL.
Yeah,
So,
you are.
so I may have to just throw them into one of the vegetable beds, honestly, just so I can enjoy them, dig them up, and put them where I want to
Dig them
next
up and
year.
put them someplace proper next spring. Not a bad solution. I mean, if,
Yeah.
if anybody else is caught out, that's throw them in pots, throw them wherever you can, and let them have the year, let them collect some sunshine, and then say, oh, this is actually what I wanted to do with you. I have big plans. Come with me. We're going to the right place next spring.
Yeah. And I think that is what's going to happen because otherwise I think they'll be wasted. What will happen is I'll get them into the ground and then it's going to go very cold very fast with a lot of moisture in the ground. And that could just turn them to mush. They won't have any time to root. And I feel like not a good idea. Danger, Will Robinson. So if I can get them into the other space that
I
has a little
did
bit more
not
sun.
know that you were tracking that show. I had that as a 1960s show. Lost in Space?
Yes, it is. But I do actually, I mean, look at the books I read.
She's not old. Well, she's pretty old, but she's an older soul.
I'm an older soul. I don't actually even know if I've ever actually seen that movie or that I know which movie it is.
It's a
Is it?
television show. Are you kidding?
Oh, isn't it 2001? Isn't that what it is?
No, no, it's Lost in Space. It was right before Star Trek and right after Little Rascals when I had four channels on my television in
Oh,
Alexandria,
wow.
Virginia.
Wow.
It was some redheaded child, and he was Will Robinson, and there was a robot telling him, "Danger, danger." Okay, we've digressed. Let's get back to bulbs.
So just to be clear, next week, do I have to, like on our, when we're wrapping up the things we got wrong, do I need to go into the shows that I get wrong as well as the plants? Or just,
Let's hold your mistakes to a minimum, shall we?
thank you. Okay. All right. Next. Next.
We don't have any corrections for the show that we did before Christmas.
No, we were
We were
amazing.
perfect. Let us just all celebrate this moment. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. In what I would like to call clear up corner from here on out, that segment. No, I mean, I'm sure there were mistakes. I did not like instantly go, I just said what? I'll say it again, it's a very different thing podcasting as opposed to writing, where you can go back and go, new. That may have come out of your brain, but
I had this idea. So here we are, we've got our Minnie Mouse headphones on. We're recording this thing. We're recording the audio file, which I go and sort of deal with and get rid of our most ridiculous stuff and some ums and my sneeze that happened in the middle of Marianne's sentence, etc. It was quite a sneeze. But we could throw this on unedited onto YouTube. It's like throwing what do you throw against the wall to see if it sticks? Spaghetti or something?
spaghetti.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll be Joe Rogan within seconds.
Oh, we will. And it'll be like when I say, "Where are you going?" People will say, "Yeah, that's her butt bending over someplace far away in her studio."
Is she really wearing a flannel shirt with sweatpants?
Yes, she is.
Yes, she is. I am.
So this is a threat, listeners. Be good.
That'll be for paid people. That'll be on our OnlyFans account.
That's right. So what did you get for Christmas? Any predictions on what you got for Christmas on December 11th? Birthday and Christmas combined? How do they do this?
I'll tell you what I got from a birthday present from my husband because I bought it for him,
This is how we do.
which I'm still waiting to hear the UPS truck coming down the drive. And that is a replacement waterproof coat for the coat that was viciously stolen in Oxford when we were there.
Oh, remember that? That was like the saddest day of your life.
It was so sad. I'd had that parka for a long time. And it was a good one. It was a Barbour waterproof, a very lightweight parka. I don't know if it's a
I
parka.
mean, it was lined. It was good. I mean, you barely came out to dinner that night. You're like, no, I have to grieve for my coat. I must have a moment.
Well, you see, it was such a bad experience because we had nothing but great experiences on that trip. I mean, truly, it was just such a great trip. And I went to this little pub with one of the gals on our trip, Tracy. So we just sort of stopped along, one of the first two that we came into, and it wasn't very nice. And the gal behind the bar was even less nice. Sat down, we had a pint, and it was in a dirty glass, and I was
Oh,
just like,
yuck.
oh, this is so not cool.
Right.
We got up and left, and then to my horror I realized I'd left my parka or my shell there, and that is my serious, you're going to get wet but you're not going to get wet Barbour shell. And I've had it for years, and I called back immediately and, oh no, we've never seen it. Oh, sure you haven't seen it. It was gone. So that's why I always say it was stolen, but it was found by somebody, possibly an
Yes.
actress. So that gave me the opportunity, along with the birthday and Christmas coming up, which Michael likes to put together if he can.
Well, wouldn't you? Come on.
Yeah, story of my life. To buy a coat that I've really been looking at and absolutely love, and that is the New Zealand company Ridgeline.
Oh.
And they
Are we
have,
getting paid by them? Just asking.
we are not.
We're getting paid by no one.
No one. But if you would like to pay us,
Ridgeline, if you're listening, hey,
comments at thegardenmixer.com.
get in touch.
Yeah, we're not proud. So, well, actually, we are a bit.
Only a little bit. Only a
Only a
little bit.
little bit. But it is a extremely waterproof, warm shell, and it's called the Monsoon.
Ooh, good
Classic
name.
monsoon. I found a distributor in the US, and so and it wasn't as expensive as Barbour because now Barbour has gone from being like the thing that people wore
Needed
and needed to
this cool
the
thing
this cool thing, as we saw at
with Carhartt.
with Carhartt. What?
Yeah, with Carhartt. The pants, those were my go-to gardening pants.
Yeah,
Carhartt. I think it's an American
it's
company.
American. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like they have a shop on, I don't know, Sloane Street in London. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Where did they have a shop?
I'm making that up.
Oh,
I think it was
really?
Manhattan. My son took a selfie in front of it because he wears them like he wears Carhartts like we do, like he needs them. And all of a sudden he's like, I'm not wearing this brand anymore because it's on this street in Manhattan. Was it
Uh,
London? I can't remember. But it's a fancy thing now.
Listeners, for God's sake, go out and buy up every Carhartt, what have you, and sell them on eBay in the next couple years. This will happen. It happened to Barbour.
Send us the proceeds.
But send us the proceeds. I want a 10% cut. When we went to Blenheim Palace, another stop on our trip, do you remember they had a fashion show going on in
Every
the
room.
palace itself, every room.
Every room, yeah.
And one of those rooms was Barbour.
Hmm.
And it struck me in that minute, this has moved on
Yes.
from need to fashion and it's a good product. Like I have a little coat that I bought at John Lewis from Mungo, which is a waxed coat with a wonderful liner.
Mungo is not her son. Mungo is sort of her son. Mungo is a scrawny Jack Russell Terrier, just so you know.
Scrawny, I beg your
Well,
pardon.
no, he's very athletic, but he's just as
Extremely athletic, brilliant dog. And he hates having a coat on, but it's very nice. But I don't like the fact that it is a fashion thing now.
I videoed that entire room, sent it to my family chat, and there was enthusiasm from several people, including my husband, who's just a slave to these things. No, I'm kidding. But my son, like the Carhartt, this is the Marine where all things, it doesn't like change, so conservative. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is a thing that would be exhibited in Blenheim as if it's a trendy thing. This is Barbour. Come on, this is how we stay warm and dry.
When I was at university in the late 90s, I realized that a lot of students the wealthier students were wearing their Barbour coat. Many of the international students because they felt that was the uniform. We were in the
Mhm.
fall and I was in archaeology and we were out in the country a lot. And so they were wearing that as the uniform. Except what they needed to be doing was beating bushes and shooting pheasants,
Right, right,
not digging in a trench.
right.
Yeah, they learned. I mean, they learned over time that that wasn't the thing. But I sort of clocked, oh, this is what you think you have to wear.
Yeah.
But that said, great brand. It's just that it's gone from possibly I could buy that if I save a few more pennies to, oh, okay, maybe not right now. Maybe a few more pennies.
Many more pennies. Jeff Harris is the guy who my husband who has kept his original one probably from college for so long. Yeah, that's really cool, honey, but you do look like a homeless person.
Which, let me just say, if he's got his original waxed, does he have a waxed?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
actually still smells like Barbour. And I bought Michael a wax jacket a couple years ago, and they've changed it completely. So if I put my nose into it, it doesn't bring back all these wonderful memories.
We've devoted enough time to Barbara so that they actually really should be paying us.
No, because we just said that they're fashionable and too expensive. So why
Well,
would
that
they
means they
pay
have
us?
a big budget. Big budget. All right, what else do you think you might have gotten for your birthday slash Christmas, besides hand warmers from me?
Are you really going to send me some hand warmers?
I mean,
Oh,
my God,
maybe I'll
let's.
send you some of my Sylvester's bulbs.
Oh, that would be good. I also owe you a golden shovel, but that's already yours.
Shall we talk about the golden shovel, Leslie?
Oh, I think I can't stop you from doing it.
No. So while we were at Chelsea on this trip that we won't stop talking about, Gardens Illustrated, which is a really good magazine.
It actually is. It's so much better than the English garden. There are fewer photographs of that woman who has never gotten her fingernails dirty in that hat. It's a lot more information, don't you think?
There's more information. It's upscale, it's garden design,
Beautiful photographs.
cool plants. It's garden porn at its best. You can take issue with, because I can take issue with anything.
Oh, it's a strength of yours. It's a
Yeah,
forte.
I'm really good at it. Do what you're good at is what I say. I love it. I do like the magazine very much. And my subscription had run out. And so while we were at Chelsea, they always have a booth there, and they're usually giving away something when they are signing you up for subscriptions. And I will not deny that I might have let my subscription falter in order to sign back up again at Chelsea. And this time they were giving away a golden small digging shovel, which I don't know because I haven't been able to examine the shovel because Leslie's got it because my suitcase wouldn't take it and hers
You
would.
examined it enough to ascertain that it would not fit in your suitcase, but that it would fit in mine.
Right. And so it went home with Leslie. That was in May, listeners, in May. And I still don't have this shovel.
Been a little busy.
I was watching something the other day, or I was reading a magazine or something, and I saw some golden shovels, and I thought, oh, damn it, are those the shovels that I got? I don't know. I have no idea. So Leslie's got my golden shovel, and I swear if the gold has been completely worn off because she's been using it in the garden, I'm gonna be pissed.
I'm in big trouble.
Even though she did bring it home.
I'm just going to dig a maraschino cherry out of the bottom of my drink. Oh, that's the bottom of my drink. I think we should probably end this one. What do you think?
I mean, I was going to talk about Mahonia a bit, but honestly, we've hit so many topics, things we shouldn't have even talked about. That perhaps the time for Mahonia is next week.
Mahonia can wait.
Mahonia can wait. I understand that it is now berberis, which some of it is. Aquifolium is berberis, but we'll talk about that later. And these taxonomists who keep us up at night and all
I
of
could
that.
never sleep because of those guys.
And one last shout out to Stacy. Stacy, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for being so young. I know you probably didn't have control of that, but
And if you're a 33-year-old who feels like, hey, don't call me young. Oh no, baby. Take it.
take it and run with it.
Take it, run with it. You are young.
Think of this. I mean, if we put this on YouTube and then 10 years from now we go back and look at it, we'll be like, oh, Marianne's about to turn 54 on the night that this was recorded. Look at how young she is.
Thank you so much for sharing that with everyone.
You're welcome.
Cheers to owning your age.
All right, y'all. We'll see you later in January.
We will, and enjoy that music as we go on out into the garden mixer. We're looking forward to being with you over the next year and having a laugh. And again, if you have comments for the shows to come, please email us at comments@gardenmixer.com. That sounded really professional, didn't it, Leslie?
Yeah. I think we should hire you. Okay. Happy mixing.
Happy New Year.